and he will not be with us much longer. That sentence did not hit the room like a gavel. It arrived like a notification on a screen you were trying to ignore. Soft, inconsequential, but absolute. There were 19 people in that glass-walled fishbowl we called a meeting space. 19 spines stiffened at the same time. The air circulation system hummed, a low mechanical drone that usually faded into the background, but suddenly sounded like a jet engine preparing for takeoff. Victoria Thorne stood at the head of the heavy composite slab where we held our weekly status updates. She held a laser pointer in one hand, though the screen behind her was blank. She looked at me. It was not a glare, it was worse. It was a curve of the lips that suggested she had just tasted something sweet like a ripe strawberry while watching a car crash. "Oops," Victoria said, tilting her head to the side, a gesture she used when she wanted to appear harmless. Spoiled the surprise. I stood in the doorway. My hand gripped the travel mug I had brought from home. It was old. The paint chipped near the rim, filled with coffee that had been hot when I left my apartment, but was now tepid sludge. 3 years. That number flashed in my mind not as a length of time, but as a physical weight. 3 years of arriving while the streetlights were still buzzing. 3 years of fixing code that looked like spaghetti. 3 years of making Victoria look like a visionary when she could not even convert a document. And this was the severance package, not a handshake, not a private conversation, just a punchline for the Monday morning crowd. "I need to make a call," I said. My voice did not shake. I was surprised by that. I expected a tremor, a crack, something to betray the crater opening up in my chest, but there was nothing, just flat, gray, calm. Victoria's expression shifted. The amusement did not leave, but it hardened. A flicker of curiosity. She wanted to see me beg. She wanted to see me scramble. She expected me to call human resources, or maybe my mother. I pulled my phone from my pocket. The screen felt cool against my thumb. I did not search for a contact. I typed the number from memory, a number I had memorized 2 weeks ago, burning it into my brain while staring at my ceiling at 3 in the morning. I pressed the green button and held the device to my ear. The room was so quiet, I could hear the breathing of the colleague standing nearest to me. "Yes," I said when the voice on the other end answered. I looked straight at Victoria. I did not blink. "I am ready to accept." Victoria's face changed. It was not a gradual shift. It was an avalanche. The color drained from her cheeks, leaving her skin the shade of wet dough. The laser pointer in her hand dipped, the red dot skittering across the floor like a panicked insect. She knew that voice on the other end. She knew exactly whom I was calling, and for the first time in 3 years, she looked afraid. But before we get to the part where her world dissolves, I need to explain how we arrived at this moment. My name is Daniel Vance, and at 55 years old, I have spent a lifetime making complex systems run smoothly. I am a systems architect. I see patterns where other people see chaos. I fix broken things. It is not just my job, it is my nature. If there is a crack in the pavement, I want to fill it. If there is a typo in a menu, I want to correct it. If there is a person drowning, I jump in. That was how Victoria caught me. She was not brilliant. She was loud. She was charismatic in a way that felt like a heat lamp, intense, comforting, but artificial. She hired me 3 years ago to revamp the infrastructure, which is corporate speak for doing everything while she went to lunch. I did not mind. I loved the work. I loved the logic of it. Computers do not have egos. Code does not lie to you. If a program fails, it is because you missed a semicolon, not because the program decided it did not like your tone. But Victoria was a mess, not just professionally. Her life was a series of unattended fires she expected other people to extinguish. 6 months before the end, I was her favorite firefighter. "Daniel, I do not know what I would do without you," she used to say, usually while handing me a stack of reports she was supposed to have finished a week ago. "You are my brain, you are my right hand." I trusted her words. That is the embarrassing part. I thought we were partners. I thought she respected the late nights, the saved deadlines, the way I made her shine in front of the board. Then I met Jory. It was a Tuesday, a teacher workday. The schools were closed and Victoria had run out of childcare options. She brought him into the office, dragging him by the hand like luggage. Jory Thorne was 14, tall for his age, with limbs that seemed too long for his body. Like a colt that had not quite figured out gravity. He was wearing noise-canceling headphones, the big bulky kind. "Just sit there." Victoria hissed at him, pointing to the corner of her office where a sad potted fern was slowly dying. And be quiet. Mommy has a meeting. She closed the door. But the walls were glass. We could all see him. He did not sit. He stood by the fern and rocked back and forth rhythmically. He was humming. It was a low, resonant sound, like a cello being played underwater. I watched my colleagues roll their eyes. I watched Toby, a junior developer who spent more time grooming his beard than coding, mimic the rocking motion when Victoria was not looking. I felt that familiar itch, the need to fix, the need to protect. At lunch, Victoria came to my desk. She looked exhausted. Her makeup was cracking around the eyes. "Is he bothering you?" she asked. Her voice was sharp, defensive. She was ready to fight me. "No," I said. "He is fine." She deflated. "He is having a bad week. The school called yesterday." She sat on the edge of my desk. This was improper, but Victoria did not care about boundaries. She started talking. It poured out in a rush. The assessments, the diagnosis she refused to say out loud, calling it his challenges or his sensory issues. "They say he needs specialized therapy," she said, picking at a loose thread on her skirt. "Behavioral integration, social mapping, but the insurance will not cover it. They say it is educational, so the school should pay. The school says it is medical, so insurance should pay, and meanwhile, he is drowning." She looked at me then. Her eyes were wet. "He is a genius, Daniel. He can do math in his head that I cannot do with a calculator, but he cannot order a sandwich. He cannot look people in the face. If he does not get help now, I do not know what happens to him when he turns 18. I do not know if he survives." I looked over her shoulder at the boy in the glass box. He had stopped rocking. He was tracing a pattern on his knee with his index finger. Over and over, a complex spiraling shape. He looked up just for a second, his gaze locked onto mine. There was no artifice there, no social mask, just raw, unfiltered existence. I went home that night and researched. I found Dr. Kincaid. He was a legend in the field, a neurodevelopmental specialist who built pathways where there were none. His waiting list was longer than a lease agreement. His fees were astronomical. I called him the next morning from the stairwell. "We do not take new patients," the receptionist said, "and we do not take insurance." "I have cash," I said, "and I have a specific case," I explained. Jory Thorne, the math, the humming, the isolation. "Dr. Kincaid charges $3,000 a month," the voice said. "Minimum 6-month commitment up front, $18,000. I sat on the concrete step of the stairwell. The air smelled like dust and floor wax. I pulled up my banking app. I had $22,000 in savings. It had taken me 5 years to save that. Every bonus, every tax refund, every time I did not order takeout, did not go on vacation, did not buy the nice boots. It was my house fund, my escape plan. My proof that I was a responsible adult who was building a future. $18,000 was a down payment on a condo. It was security. I looked at the number on the screen. Then I thought about the boy tracing patterns on his knee. I thought about Victoria. She was chaotic, yes. She was demanding, but she was a mother who was terrified she was losing her son. If I could fix this, if I could solve this problem, it would be the ultimate solution. It would fix the boy and it would bond Victoria to me. We would be a team. "Can you do it anonymously?" I asked. "Excuse me," the receptionist asked. "The mother, she cannot know it is me. She has pride issues. Tell her he won a grant, a pilot program. Tell her she was selected." "We do not usually do that," she said. "I will wire the money today. All of it, if you can take him next week." There was a pause, the kind of pause where rules are bent because money is heavy. "Send the wire," the receptionist said. I did it. I watched the numbers in my account drop from $22,000 to $4,000. My stomach twisted, a physical knot of nausea. I had just spent my house fund. I had just spent my safety net. But when I walked back into the office and saw Victoria stressing over a spreadsheet, I felt a surge of something else. Power, benevolence. I was the invisible hand. I was the fixer. Victoria got the call 2 days later. She came running out of her office, tears streaming down her face. "You will not believe it," she gasped, grabbing my arm. "Jory got into a program. Dr. Kincaid, do you know who that is? He is the best. He was nominated for a grant. It is fully covered. 6 months. That is amazing," I said. I forced a smile. "He must be really special." "He is," she said, beaming. "It is a miracle. It was my life savings, but I remained silent. For the first 3 months, it was perfect. Victoria was happier. She was less manic, and Jory flourished. I never saw him, but I heard about him. Victoria gave me updates every morning. He slept through the night, she told me one day, clutching her coffee. He has not done that since he was 4. He made a friend. She said a week later, a boy named Ian. They talked about trains for an hour. Actual conversation, Daniel. Not just him listing facts. He looked me in the eye and said, "I love you," she whispered one afternoon, her voice trembling. "He is coming back to me." I felt a glow in my chest every time she spoke. I had done that. I had bought that happiness. It was worth the condo. It was worth the cheap food I was eating to rebuild my savings. But then the atmosphere shifted. It started slowly. Subtle comments in meetings. "Daniel, maybe run that email by me before you send it," Victoria said in front of the vice president. "You can be a little robotic," I blinked. I had written the email because she had forgotten to do so. Then came the project assignments. I had been building a new resource allocation system for 8 months. It was my baby. It used predictive algorithms to save the company roughly 12% on logistics costs. It was the kind of project that makes a career. When the proposal went to the board, my name was not on the cover page. "Victoria," I asked, holding the document, "why am I listed as contributor?" She did not look up from her phone. "Oh, corporate policy. Only director-level employees can lead major initiatives. It is just paperwork. Everyone knows you did the grunt work." Grunt work. I had written every line of code. I had designed the architecture. She could not explain the algorithm if her life depended on it. "I need credit for this," I said, keeping my voice steady. "This is my performance review material." "You are being sensitive," she snapped. "We are a team. When I win, you win. Don't be petty." Petty. I went back to my desk. I logged into my bank account. $4,000. I thought about revealing the truth. I thought about marching into her office and slamming the wire transfer receipt on her desk. "I bought your son's sanity. Give me my project." But I did not, because if I told her, the magic would break. She would hate me for providing that help. Her pride was a fragile, dangerous thing. She would see it as manipulation, not kindness. So I swallowed it. Month 4, the unified front. Victoria was spending more time out of the office, networking, she called it, client relations. I was running the department. I was doing her job and mine. I was approving budgets, managing Toby, who still could not code, handling crises. When Victoria was in the office, she was on the phone with Dr. Kincaid's office, gushing about Jory's progress. "He is drawing," she told the team one morning, "complex, beautiful drawings. Dr. Kincaid says his neural pathways are integrating at an unprecedented rate." The team clapped. I clapped. Then Victoria turned to me. "Daniel, I need you to stay late tonight. The quarterly deck needs to be redone." "I did it yesterday," I said. "It lacks punch," she said. "It lacks vision. Redo it. I am leaving early. Jory has a recital." A recital that the boy who could not stand noise was having a recital. I stayed. I redid the deck. I watched the sun go down. I ate a vending machine sandwich for dinner. The next morning, Victoria presented the deck. She got a standing ovation from the chief executive officer. She took a bow. She did not mention my name. That was the moment the crack appeared. Not in the pavement, but in me. I realized I was not her partner. I was not her right hand. I was her appliance. I was a toaster. You do not thank a toaster for making toast. You expect it. And when it starts asking for credit, you replace it. The replacement process began in month 5. Victoria hired a new guy, Sean. Sean was sleek. He wore suits that cost more than my car. He had a Master of Business Administration and a smile that looked like it had been focus grouped. "Sean is going to shadow you," Victoria said, "to learn the ropes." "I do not need a shadow," I said. "I need a raise." "We will discuss compensation at the annual review," she said, waving her hand. "Teach Sean everything." I saw the writing on the wall. It was written in neon. Sean was not there to help me. He was there to download my brain so Victoria could delete me. I stopped sleeping. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, doing math. $3,000 a month. I had 2 months of sessions left on the contract. Jory was doing well. He was stable, but stability is a fragile thing for a kid like that. Dr. Kincaid had told me during our initial call that the 6-month mark was critical. It is the consolidation phase. He had said if we stop before 6 months, the regression can be severe. The brain snaps back to old patterns. I had the power to stop it, but I was a good person. That is what I told myself. I was the person who saved the boy. I would not use a child as a weapon. That was villain behavior. Then came the Thursday. Victoria called me into her office. Sean was there, sitting in my chair with an expression of smug satisfaction. "Daniel," she said. She was not smiling. She looked annoyed, like I was a stubborn stain on her mahogany desk that she could not scrub out. "We are restructuring," she said. "The department is pivoting. We need more strategic leadership, less technical drag." Technical drag? "You are firing me," I said. "It is a layoff," she corrected. "Your role is being eliminated." And Sean, I looked at the man in the expensive suit. "Sean is the new director of strategic innovation," she said. "He will be absorbing your responsibilities." "My responsibilities," I said. "My project, the allocation system. It belongs to the firm, Daniel. You know that," she said. Her voice was ice. She picked up a pen and started clicking it. "We want this to be smooth," she said. "We will give you 2 weeks of severance if you sign the non-disclosure agreement and the non-compete today." 2 weeks. I had given her 3 years. I had given her my savings. I had given her son a life. "And when is my last day?" I asked. "Next Friday," she said. "But we will announce it on Monday, at the team meeting. We want to frame it correctly. A transition, a passing of the torch. You want me to sit there while you tell everyone I am leaving. It is professional," she said. "We present a unified front, a unified front." I looked at my supervisor. I observed her closely. I saw the lines around her mouth. I saw the slight tremor in her hand that she tried to hide. I saw a woman who was drowning and climbing on top of me to breathe. But I was not a log and I was not a toaster. "Okay," I said, "Monday." I walked out of her office. I walked past Sean, who did not even make eye contact, instead focusing intently on his phone. I walked past Toby, who was watching online videos and completely oblivious to the tension in the room. I went to the stairwell, the same stairwell where I had transferred $18,000. I called the recruiter at Vulcan Tech Group. "Is the offer still open?" I asked. "Daniel," the recruiter sounded shocked. "Yes, we have been waiting for you. I want double my current salary," I said, "and I want a signing bonus of $10,000. "Done," he said. "When can you start?" "In 2 weeks," I said. "I have some loose ends to tie up." I hung up, but I was not done. I went back to my desk and accessed the secure HR server. I had administrative access to verify structural changes. I wanted to see what assignment documents they had filed for the resource allocation system. I found it. An intellectual property assignment agreement, dated 4 months ago, bearing my signature. I stared at the screen, my eyes narrowing as the reality of what I was looking at sank in. I had never signed that document. I had refused to sign any assignment without a salary review, a fact I had stated in writing multiple times. I zoomed in on the signature. It was a clumsy, desperate imitation of my handwriting. Victoria had forged it to satisfy the compliance audit before presenting the system to the board, hoping I would never check the internal database. My stomach went cold, then burning hot. She had violated California Penal Code Section 470, forgery, a criminal act. That meant the agreement was void ab initio, invalid from the very beginning. And without a valid assignment, under Title 17 of the United States Code, Section 106, the copyright of the code belonged exclusively to me. It was not the firm's project. It was my project. I copied the files, downloaded the access log showing Victoria had uploaded the forged PDF from her account, and sent everything to my lawyer. Then I made the call to Dr. Kincaid's office. "This is Daniel Vance," I said, "the sponsor for Jory." Back then, they did not have other donors. "Ah, yes," the receptionist said. "We just sent the progress report. He is doing magnificently." "I am calling to cancel the remaining sessions," I said. "Process the cancellation immediately and refund the remaining $6,000 to my account." But I added a crucial instruction. "Do not process the actual cancellation or contact Victoria until Monday morning. Keep Jory enrolled until then. I will call you from the meeting room to give the final word." There was a long, heavy silence. "I beg your pardon," she said. "We are in the critical consolidation phase. If we pull the support now, he will crash." "I understand," I said. "The mother thinks this is a funded program," she said. "Tell her the grant ran out," I said. "Or tell her the truth. This is highly irregular," she said. "It is business," I said, using Victoria's favorite phrase. "Just hold the order until my call on Monday." I ended the call. I sat at my desk for the rest of the day. I watched Victoria laugh with Sean in her office. She looked so confident. She did not know that the ground beneath her feet was turning to sand. Monday morning arrived. I walked into the team meeting late. Victoria stood at the head of the heavy composite table, holding her laser pointer, smirking as she announced to the room that I would not be with us much longer. 19 colleagues sat in silence, some looking away, while Toby simply stared at his keyboard. I stood by the glass doorway, pulled out my phone, and dialed Dr. Kincaid's clinic. In front of the entire team, I instructed the receptionist to process the cancellation of the grant and refund my remaining $6,000. Victoria's face turned the shade of wet dough as she realized I was the anonymous donor she had been praising for months. I explained to the room that there was no corporate grant and that Jory's therapy was officially over because I could no longer afford to fund it after being laid off. Then I delivered the final blow. I revealed that I had uncovered the forged signature on the Intellectual Property Assignment Agreement, a direct violation of California Penal Code, Section 470. Since forgery made the document void ab initio, I still held the exclusive copyright to the resource allocation system under Title 17 United States Code, Section 106. I had already filed a complaint with the compliance department, and the company was freezing the project. Sean looked horrified as he realized the system he was hired to direct was legally unusable. Victoria collapsed into her chair, her hands shaking. She begged me to stay, offering to rescind the layoff, return my project, and make Sean report to me. But I refused. I told her to focus on being a mother instead of stealing credit from her employees, packed my personal belongings, and walked out of the building. My start at Vulcan Tech Group was a breath of fresh air. Diana, the vice president of engineering, welcomed me warmly and introduced me to the entire department as the lead architect who would oversee their next-generation systems. Unlike the toxic environment under Victoria, here the developers actually listened, shared ideas, and worked collaboratively. There were no hidden agendas or stolen credits. Yet, despite the professional satisfaction and the double salary landing in my account, the quiet moments at my desk were filled with thoughts of Jory Thorne. A week later, I received an email from Dr. Kincaid. He wrote that Victoria had brought Jory to the clinic that morning, but her credit cards were all declined. Jory did not understand why they had to leave. He sat in the waiting room, taking off his shoes and tying them repeatedly, trying to show the staff that he was ready to work. When Victoria tried to pull him out, he screamed in grief, holding onto the doorframe until his knuckles turned white. Security had to assist her in getting him into the car. Dr. Kincaid warned that if therapy did not resume within 2 weeks, neural pruning would begin, and Jory would lose his language skills first, followed by his emotional regulation. Most painfully, Jory had asked for the fixer. I stared at the screen, the words swimming before my eyes. Victoria was ruined, fired for cause, and facing a potential lawsuit for breach of fiduciary duty. It was the perfect revenge, a complete career destruction. Yet, looking at the email, I felt no triumph. I only felt the heavy weight of a child's regression hanging over my conscience. I was the fixer, but I had broken a child to punish his mother. The silence of my quiet apartment seemed to judge me, reminding me that Jory was innocent in this corporate warfare. I picked up the receiver and called Dr. Kincaid. His voice was tired when he answered, but he listened carefully. I told him I would restart the funding immediately, but on 2 strict conditions. First, Victoria must never know the truth. She must believe a new anonymous scholarship had been found. Second, I would only pay half the fee. Victoria had to pay the other half. She needed to have skin in the game, to sacrifice for her son, and to understand the true cost of her choices. If she did not contribute, she would never learn the value of accountability. Dr. Kincaid agreed to call her and present the offer. I transferred the $6,000 and sat back, feeling a quiet peace. The next morning, Dr. Kincaid sent a photo of Jory drawing a complex galaxy with the word "fixer" written in the corner. A month later, Victoria resigned and took a demotion at a local nonprofit, selling her luxury vehicle to pay her share of the therapy. I saw them once at a local grocery store. She looked tired, counting coupons in the checkout line, but Jory was calm, helping her bag the groceries. He did not recognize me, but as they walked past, I knew the system was finally running as intended. I walked out to my car, having lost $12,000 in 3 years of my life, but I had fixed the unfixable, and that was enough.